Wesley Bryan and his brother George Bryan have built an incredibly successful YouTube golf channel. Today we sit down with the man behind the scenes who makes it all possible. Excited to have Carney, the editor for the Bryan brothers, come on the channel to talk for about 45 minutes.
Look at Carney. He's checked. The camera guys and editors, they just don't get enough credit.
Let's give credit when credit is due. Show some love to Carney. Follow his Instagram in the description. Drop a comment in this video. And without further ado, let's kick it to the interview. All right. I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Christian Carnahan, a.k.a. Carney, a.k.a. Goat. How you doing, man? Thanks for coming on.
Good. Yeah. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So where are you at right now?
I am in my room, Columbia, South Carolina, about to get on the road to head to Bermuda on Sunday for the PGA Tour event.
All right. And they're both, Wes and George are both playing, huh?
Yep, they're both playing. So.
All right, cool. So quick little Google search on your area code of your phone number. I saw you're from Idaho. Is that right?
Yep. I'm from Boise, Idaho, born and raised. Went to Boise High School. Did track and field there, and then went to I went to Idaho State for a year. I did high jump, track and field, transferred to Colorado State, did 3 more years of track there.
Awesome. That was, I'm sure that was a fun experience, college athletics.
Class. Yep.
Were you, did you get any accolades, or were you ever get pretty highly ranked?
Won a conference championship with CSU, fractured my tibia the next year, and then my leg was never really the same. I was just kind of the crippled old man on the team and just there to bring the vibes and hang out. And
root them on.
And
that's cool.
Jump very average. And
yeah, well, so Idaho looks like has 2 area codes. Is that right?
I have no clue. That's a phenomenal question.
I think they have 2 area codes. It's a small town. So, did you play golf at all growing up, or was it pretty much just track and field?
Yeah, grew up playing golf. Played golf a lot when I was a kid, and then basketball was my big sport. I played stuff year round. Like I did cross country to stay in shape for basketball. Played basketball, and then played a lot of baseball, a lot of soccer. And golf just kind of fell by the wayside when I was growing up. Played with 2 kids from Idaho that are both incredibly good at golf. Carson Berry, who played at Oregon State, very good golfer for them there. And then Sam Tidd played at University of Oklahoma and then transferred to University of Utah. So 2 unreal golfers. Grew up playing junior golf with them. Made me realize that I was not going to make it at the highest levels of the sport.
So you did play a couple.
I played
a few events, though.
Events, yep.
Cool.
And decided I was a lot better at other things and went and pursued those. And then my roommate and one of my best friends, Eldridge, on the CSU track team, he asked me if I golfed because I posted something on my story. I usually would just go out once with my grandparents over the summer. It's like, hey, I just got into golf. He found a golf club in a dumpster. And he was going to regionals. He was stuck in the dorms by himself his freshman year and was hitting golf balls on the IM field. And started getting into golf, and he was like, hey, do you want to do IM golf? So we joined the IM Golf League, and then that was when Good was starting to get really big, all of the COVID golf stuff, and I decided
try it out,
jumped in like full force into the YouTube golf stuff, started watching everything, found George and Wesley, and started watching their stuff. And my senior year of college, waking up in a bunch of pain, decided track really wasn't for me. I just wasn't worth pushing through. Was working a software engineering internship at the time. Decided that I was going to go down to Palm Springs. Lucky enough, my grandparents have a house there. Do my software internship remote, finish school online, and play golf and hang out. And lo and behold, Wesley is on the tee down in the Bahamas somewhere on the Korn Ferry Tour. Last second gets into the PGA Tour, walks off the first tee, flies on his practice round, flies to La Quinta to go to the American Express. And George is like, hey, got in, was freaking out in the Discord back when our Discord was really small. And I was down there at the time and was like, hey, I've been in all the streams, happy to help out. Ended up doing live stream with John Rahm, went really well. And hung out with Wesley and Will Miles. Shout out Willie Mudball. Miss seeing him around. And We
So
were
that's how you got connected with them, just
got
through
connected.
interacting on Discord a little bit?
Back when the community was really small, I was in every Twitch stream. I had my iPad up in my software classes on the floor with an AirPod in, listening to the streams. George playing golf at Aiken while I was in like my 400, 500 level CS classes,
Were
which
they
definitely.
streaming on the time with like a cell phone, or I'm sure the
Yeah,
quality wasn't that great?
George just had a cell phone on a tripod with a mount, and I don't even know if he was using DJI mics at
How,
the time. It might have been raw audio. I
how many guys you think were watching? Like, a
I
couple
mean,
hundred maybe,
yeah,
or
200,
200?
sometimes 100 and something, sometimes as low as like 50, 60, just depending on the day. And found out about the Discord through that. And I had played a ton of video games, and so I was very familiar with Discord. I was like, oh, no way, they have a Discord server. Jumped in there, made really good friends. A lot of people that are still in there today, a lot of the OGs of the sub chat.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then George and Wes, I was in a stream, and they were talking about doing a video where George Case or Wesley mic'd up, but George was filming all the videos at the time. And this was probably a month and a half after I met Wes for the first time. I still had never met George. And it was in a stream, and Wesley was like, hey, Carney seems like kind of a vibe. And he, like, maybe he'll do it. And I had George's number from when he had texted me about the Twitch stuff, and I texted him, say, hey, I'll buy my flight right now. And I'll come out there, and I'll film it and hang out and stream and everything. And he thought about it for a little bit, and he's like, you know what, let's do it.
Seems
And
like a
I
good
bought
deal.
my plane ticket, flew out, never touched a camera in my life. And
Wow.
George showed up Tuesday. We just hung out on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, did a 9-hole practice round, handed me the camera, just an old Sony A7 II or A7 III. And one of the audio ports was busted, so you only had one channel of audio. It was amazing. And
And he was like
it's like,
teaching you how to
yep,
record, and
teaching me how to
were
record
y'all doing any zoom ins at the time, or was it just
a
pretty much
little
shot
bit, but
tracer?
it was I think it was handheld. I think I was shooting handheld with a mirrorless camera with no stabilization in the lens. So just in-body stabilization. So shaky as can be. Maybe it was on a monopod. I honestly can't remember. And I was zooming a little bit. I think we were just using a like 25 to 105 lens or something like that. Like, so not a ton of zoom. I honestly can't remember the lens. I think I still have it out there in our collection somewhere.
So this was about like 2 years ago or so, or
That was March of 2023. It's like late
a year
February,
and a
early
half.
March. Yep.
So
And
you've been on board pretty much since then, huh?
a little bit, yeah. So again, filmed that. Wesley had a great week. Honestly, shout out to Wesley for playing so good. Because if he didn't have a good week, who knows? It's like you just been like, like it
Could
just wasn't it.
could be
So
different.
him
Yeah.
having a great week definitely helped. The videos did good, which was awesome. And I luckily figured it out pretty quick. And then thought I'd never hear from him again. I was like, I just got to spend a week with some people that I've looked up to for forever. And
Hmm.
if I never get to talk to him again, so be it. That was awesome. Like, I'll
It was
never
still a
forget
win.
that experience. We'll never
Hmm.
forget. And George FaceTimes me out of the blue over spring break a couple weeks later, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks later, and says, hey, we're doing a trip with Micah and Grant in South Carolina. We're going to go to Myrtle Beach. Is there any way in the world you're free? And I said, I
And
will
you
do,
were
I
living
will
at the
do
time in
whatever.
Colorado,
I was
is that
splitting
right?
time
Or
between Colorado and Southern California,
okay.
and was finishing up one class online and just mostly working my internship at the time. I had saved one class in case I wanted to do my final year of track. And so one class online doing an internship. I was like, hey, I can work my internship remote. I'll do what I can. And moved. I mean, didn't move out there yet, but like
You
went out
came
there
to
for
that
2 weeks.
trip.
Yep. Went out there for 2 weeks, worked my software internship in the morning, and at night, fitting in all my hours, I'd get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, code for 3 or 4 hours, and then go film all day, get home, code for another couple hours, and did that for 2 weeks. And we filmed a bunch of videos with Micah and Grant, which I don't think Jacob, Micah's guy, came on that trip. He might have, I can't remember, but Skylar did. That was the first time I ever
Hmm.
met Sky.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
uh, super nice guy. I was super eager to learn. He was a great teacher, super nice to me,
That,
super helpful, and He's helped me
That
get to where
was
I'm
that
at.
was going to be one of my next questions. Is you didn't have any editing experience at the time, and did you kind
I,
of learn from them? And George kind of, I
mm-mm.
think he was editing before, right? Or
We had a guy, Alex.
there was a different guy.
Alex, he'd been editing for about a year and a half,
Okay.
2 years, and I mean, he does a lot of really high profile work. Awesome guy. He's unbelievably talented. Was incredibly scared to ask him any questions, so I never ended up asking him anything. Now he and I talk a good bit. We were actually on the phone the other day doing some After Effects expression stuff because of my coding background. Some of that makes a lot of sense to me. So he and I were chatting through some
Uh,
stuff, but never learned from him. First time I touched any Adobe products, I reached out to my grandma, actually, shout out to her, and was like, hey,
really?
my student subscription's going to run out. Is there any way you'll help me buy the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite? And this was May of 2023. And I was going to
Uh,
edit a test video for George and Wes. And again, had never touched it in my life. Went and got some of the old footage, downloaded it, put it together. It's still hiding unlisted on my own personal YouTube somewhere, I think. And
I'd dig for that. So you
and
just kind of learned on the go,
a little
just taught
bit.
yourself pretty much, and then Sky, you learn, lean to Sky when you can, ask him quite a lot of questions.
Absolutely. I edited one video and was super busy with my software stuff. And that one video, I'd pretty much just gone and watched the previous video because it was a video we had already put out and just copied a lot of that and was just kind of like, oh, okay, like I think this makes sense. Had no idea how to do any decision making at the time. Did a lot of cheesy stuff. Like George did like this funny jump to see the pen, adding like Mario sound effect and some other stuff I thought was really funny at the time. And
I mean,
it
I kind of like
was
it.
it was great. I would definitely do it again now if he does that in a video. But
I like stuff like that. The first time I saw it when y'all were playing ROM, you did like the fireball tracer, I think it was.
yeah,
That
that
was
was the
hot, and
first time.
like I can't remember who it was. Did the duck hit a duck hook and you put
It
like
was
ducks on it? So
I think it was Grant. I think he slipped the first time we did that. We did duck hook tracers in the Dude Perfect video. I did two of those.
oh, okay, that was yeah.
But the first time we ever did that was a group video in Arizona. It was the first big video I ever edited for Bryan Bros, the main channel. But I
So
gave up
you
editing throughout the summer pretty much. Just that summer, I was working on my software stuff and traveling a bunch to go film for Bryan Bros.
uh
And I was just filming, and Bryan Bros TV wasn't a thing yet, so I was working my software job pretty much full time. So fitting in full time software hours while trying to travel and film was pretty tough.
I
And
bet.
eventually they were like, "Hey, is there any chance you'd want to move out here? And we're going to start Bryan Bros TV, see if we can get you editing experience." And Wesley was also he was traveling a lot more and had some stuff he wanted to express creatively, and so he wanted to run his own thing a little bit, give himself an outlet. And so
Hmm.
it was just kind of a perfect storm for me to move out there. Was still working software stuff full time, and was doing Bryan Bros TV. My first edit ever is still out there. First video on the Bryan Bros TV channel,
Okay,
which
I have to
is
check that out.
hilarious.
I
Didn't
might
come
have seen it.
very very
I watch all the stuff, so I might have seen it. And
maybe when it first came out. That came out sometime fall of, I think it came out like August of 2023. So a year
man,
and
that's
change
awesome.
ago.
And then a year and a half later, you got Wes calling you the goat. Did he the one that I think he coined that? He's
He
calling you
did.
the goat, huh?
That is from my insane amount of all nighters and other stuff.
Oh,
I do
that's
everything I physically can to make sure we don't miss
to
deadlines.
get out. That's when you're in like Walmart, walking down with the laptop out in
Yeah,
Walmart, and
editing the Dude Perfect video in Walmart, walking around. I was laying in some clips that weren't time coded, and so I was like, "Hey, I have the time to go lay these in now. I'm going to take advantage of the time, and like I'll work anywhere and everywhere. I'll sleep anywhere and everywhere, and I
so
just do whatever I
put
can to make it work."
putting your heart and soul into it. That's awesome, man.
Mhm.
Maybe Wes and George ought to think about a little pay raise. But
Uh, they, they treat me good. They're nice to me.
that's awesome. They seem like great guys. So
Yeah,
when
they're
y'all are doing trips, is it kind
mhm.
of do you go on like a good week per se and go for a week and film a bunch of videos, or
Not
how does y'all's
really.
flow kind of
We
work?
don't have like the good week system. A lot of our stuff is just we'll go for
Day
maybe
or two.
2 days, 3 days for some trips, like the Washington trip. that was, we went out there for 3 days. We did Chambers and then Sahali. Or when we were just up in New York and we did Bethpage, we just went up there for Bethpage.
One, it looks like some of those cut series have been all in one day. So
We have
maybe
done one or two all in one day.
36.
Chambers, because of the weather, we did 36. I won't disclose the other one, but we did openly say Chambers was 36 holes, and we have done one other one, 36 holes. It was a
Okay,
grind. Uh,
cool. That's a lot of fun. So,
it
do
is.
y'all? Is there anything you can tease that another one coming out
The
or not?
Bethpage is the one we
That
just
page is coming
filmed.
soon. You're
Bethpage
working on
is
that one
coming
now.
soon. Working on a Bermuda video right now. Not sure when this podcast is going to come out, but working on a Bermuda one now. It comes out the week of the Bermuda tournament. Is a pretty big group video from when we did that trip there a week or a month
Right,
and so ago. I honestly can't keep the days straight, but
right. So do y'all like when y'all went down to Bermuda? Is it one
Mhm.
big Airbnb, the whole crew, or y'all
uh,
split up a little bit?
we ended up at a hotel. So it was a group of us at a hotel. We did a few dinners together, which was awesome. Juvan, the tournament director down there for the Butterfield and everything, he and his team did a great job, and they helped facilitate a lot of
Set
that,
it
which
up.
was awesome. Yeah, and
That's got to be just a lot of fun going down there with like
mm,
10, 12 dudes and filming golf and
yeah,
relaxing
I mean,
it, on an
I
island in
think
the middle of the ocean. I mean, man, it's kind of living the dream.
it it is for sure at times. There's other times where, like when I got there, I was still finishing up the Aaron Hills Cut series and trying to figure out how to upload that on Bermudian Wi-Fi. Love the country, their Wi-Fi is not the fastest, and so figuring that out and figuring out the best ways to do that, ended up uploading it on one of the hotel computers plugged into their Wi-Fi. It took like 2.5 hours, so I just kind of sat there, set up our gear for the week, set up all our cameras and everything else, and then I think every single night that trip, like pulling footage, helping Micah's guy Jacob with some stuff, and tag teaming some things. I think I was going to bed at 12:30 or 1, getting up at 4:30 or 5 every
Man,
day, 3-4 days in a row.
nonstop, huh?
And then filming all day, like helping other people film for their videos. Like everyone, all the videographers pitch in where they can. So if someone needs B cam, I'm happy to do it. If someone wants me to film A cam for their video, I'm happy to do it. And so, like filming all day, going back, pulling footage, working on videos because we can have a video to put out the next week. So even if you're on a trip for a week, I'm a one-man band, so I'm working on stuff when I can, pulling footage, making sure all our gear is charged. So it's like
Nonstop.
it is awesome, but it's also a lot of work, and that's a lot of the stuff people don't see behind the scenes. Like we were looking for a second person for
I
just
was
some
gonna
help, and
say.
then we also have some other creative goals that we want to try to achieve that I just don't have the
I,
time for.
I was gonna say that's you got to y'all have to be one of the smallest crews at the moment. Just you. I mean,
Yep,
obviously, like Good has a whole team,
yep,
and it seems like everybody has two or three guys. I think
yep.
Busted Jack now has two guys helping him out at least. So
Yep. Grant
I mean,
Grant's a one man band with Sky, and then I'm
but his
one.
wife helps film. So, but
Yep,
when say like think when y'all went played like Tot Hill Farm, it was just you and them two, right? There was
and
no
a
B
tripod.
cam
Yep.
and
No,
a
there's B cam
tripod.
on a tripod. Yep.
On a tripod. I gotcha.
Yeah, so
Man,
we have a tripod. George will carry that around. I'll run around, set it up, film a cam, and then we'll throw up the drone occasionally.
take them
Yeah, I
back
mean
to.
it's just us. Luckily, George has the experience from doing it himself for a while, and he still loves to do it. He doesn't hold a camera as much as
I
he
would
probably
say
would like to at
s-
times, but
some of my favorite videos were the like when they recorded right after COVID, all those matches at like Country Club of Lexington, the just the 1v1s, them two. It was
yeah,
just George and a tripod. Those were great. That's how I think I
those are the
initially
days.
found them.
Yep,
Those
my
were those
favorite
are
video still of all time is the Christmas Classic at Lexington. That is like it
was
was a
that
three
trail scene.
part, 6 holes, 6 holes, 6 holes. The Christmas Classic with Cardboard, Will Miles, George and
Hmm.
Wes, and Greg Payne was introducing him on the tee. The guy who's from somewhere in the UK, I believe. My
They
brain's a
had their
little
Santa hats on.
but yeah, he's got an awesome accent, and he was doing some funny introductions on the tee, and that's still to this day. I remember exactly where I was when I watched that for the first time. which is kind of crazy. It's left that big of an impact on me, but I've watched it numerous times. It's still one of my favorite things that George and Wes have ever done.
I'll
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean, it
check
was
them
a
out. The Christmas
tripod.
classic.
The Christmas classic. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome, man. Sounds like you got a good little gig with them. So
Yeah, it's
just
been great.
so like when say that 1v1 at Tot Hill,
Yeah,
how long, for example, would that take you to edit? I mean,
depends on how much free time I have. So if I'm home and I know we're not going to film and I know I need to get it out in a rush and I'm like pushing myself to get it out, I can put a video like that out in 2 days.
2 days. But
18 hole
then
1v1 with tracers and some of the graphics and other stuff. I can put that out in 2 days if I really needed
2 days. And then like the most recent video, the
to.
100,000 skins, that's got to
Yeah.
be just like a couple weeks.
That,
Do you have any help on that, or are you doing that all
uh,
yourself?
I didn't have time to do the main tracers, which was a little bit of a bummer because I was so close to pulling it off all myself. We sent those out. I did the secondary shot tracers, but everything else was done by myself. And I started that. We uploaded it Thursday. It was basically done Wednesday night. I ran into a bunch of encoding issues, and I pulled an all-nighter to actually get it exported and finally get it sorted. But so I did it in 6 days. Started it Thursday the week before, and we actually had the Bryan Bros shootout that weekend as well, which I luckily got to play in. So I basically took a day off. So I pretty much did it in 5, and it was a 6.5 hour sync map, or like a little bit over 6 hours. So like we tentacle time code all of our stuff, and so it like kind of creates a sync map for you. And it was 6.5 hours of footage, I believe, that ended up getting cut down to a little under 3, like 2 hours 54 minutes, something like that.
It's just
So I did.
the
Yeah,
videos are great. I just can't imagine that's a lot of work. I mean,
I
they're probably
was
firing the cart cams every time they get in the cart, so it's a
pretty
lot to
much, and those
decide
are
which one you want to put in and which one
Mhm.
not. I mean, a lot of it's funny, so
Yeah,
it's. Are you making the call on that, or are you
yeah.
bouncing
I
ideas back and
do.
forth with
I
George, or?
Yep, I do. I do everything, and I'm super blessed that they trust my vision enough to do that. And I think being a fan for a really long time has helped that for sure. And obviously we're a family friendly channel, so stuff that's not family friendly I won't leave in, or if there are cuss words in there, like I just take the audio out, but I'll leave the moment in if it's an important moment to leave in. But like ultimately being family friendly, as long as the stuff's family friendly, they trust my creative vision, which has been really
Are
cool. They kind of
you
let me.
sending it to them for like a final look over, or they just like have at it, go, you
Yeah,
could do you,
I
Carney?
yep, I do me. I from start to finish, it's all me. So if something goes
That's
wrong,
awesome.
it's on me.
What? That's awesome. And you're editing on a MacBook, I assume?
Yep, MacBook M3 Max, I believe. Um,
And you
and then
said
just
you
me
use
and
Premiere Pro.
yeah, me, Premiere Pro, and Adobe After Effects. We're best friends. Spend a lot of time with those boys.
I can imagine. I spend a lot with working on my small little channel. So,
Hmm.
but it's all fun. It's good. YouTube
Yeah,
golf's growing. I can't. I mean, I'm sure you're hoping to be with them for a while. I'm thinking in another 5 or 10 years. Who knows where this space is going to be? Do you have
yeah.
any thoughts how big it could
I
grow?
I got no clue where the space is headed. It's one of those things where George and Wes are some of my best friends, and I mean, I there are weeks where I work an unbelievable amount of hours, and there's some weeks where I'm lucky enough to not have to work that much. But I mean, ultimately, getting to spend time with some of my best friends and getting to travel and film has been unbelievable, and it definitely is something I don't take for granted. Now, where the space is going to be in 5 to 10 years, I have no idea. Like maybe, like what if Wesley wins on tour? Like I know he says he loves the YouTube stuff, but I mean, and I know he'll do it
He,
forever, but who knows where that takes us? Or if
I
George
s-
somehow gets his tour card through Q School Series, playing
he has a
phenomenal
chance.
golf.
That was one of my questions I was going to ask. I wanted to interrupt your regularly scheduled program for 1 second to announce that us at Parker Plays Golf LLC Limited and Co. have decided to partner with Shank It Golf. Head to shankitgolf.com for all your hats, accessories, polos, Q-zips, all your needs, and use code PPGolf15 for 15% off. Head there, shankitgolf.com. Thank them again. and let's get back to the interview.
I noticed how at Myrtle Beach last year, or maybe it wasn't that one, but you filmed a few of George's tour events. But Wesley, I don't know if it's like a copyright thing or it
It's
doesn't seem like y'all ever film him at tour events.
so a lot of the tour event stuff is hard because I know people love that content. Now George and I have been brainstorming. Our last Q School video did well. We tried something a lot very different there with storytelling and talking about the round as it's happening. So you're not just
Yeah.
stuck there watching golf, listening to it. And then how we filmed a lot of stuff last year for Q School was it was just his golf. Then we'd do a little sit down after the round. And it's really hard to remember after watching all that golf and all those golf shots when he's talking about the round. Wait, which shot was that? Or what happened where? What hole was that
Hmm.
again? And so your brain doesn't really remember. You don't
He
necessarily
did it.
understand what was happening. So filming a sit down after the round and then having him talk about the round while he's playing it, I think was a great idea.
I
Shout out
like
to
that.
him for thinking about that. So that way we can story tell and kind of let people know what's happening. And so I think we've found a formula to where we can probably start filming tour events again. But the hard thing was if you go watch the Myrtle Beach tour event, I think that was the last one we filmed and edited. There's some vlog elements in there, like it's somewhat entertaining, but also it's a bunch of golf to music. That's a majority of what the video is. And I think that's not where the YouTube space is anymore.
Mm-mm.
There's not
No.
much of a story there, and you're ultimately just watching a guy hit a bunch of shots on a tour course. And
Yeah.
so for us to spend a week filming a video like that, and for those to not do very well, it's hard because those are the pieces we love to film the most. George loves those. He loves the tour event stuff. He loves the tour vlogs, but they're so hard to justify at times because we're sending me out for a week and I'm filming all day for 3 or 4 minutes of footage or
Yeah.
however long the round ends up being cut to music. So maybe like 5 or 6 minutes or maybe 9. But to film all day for 9 and then to be working on a different project and for ultimately a week to be one video is hard at times, especially when we
Hey,
can't tell the
you're
story
not
we
inside the
want.
ropes. I saw you in Myrtle Beach. You're just outside the ropes,
Yep, I'm
so
outside the ropes hoofing
you're
around.
on the go,
Yep,
trying to stay in front of them. So
yeah.
maybe they'll be, loosening up their restrictions a little bit. I know y'all filmed at Wyndham there at Sedgefield at the
Mhm.
course, and it was before. So hypothetically, if they're both on tour next year, maybe y'all can do some 1v1s or break 50s, early in the week, or
I
play with some
think
match.
that
I know you've done
yeah.
matches as well, so it seems like
Mhm.
they're loosening up a little bit. The tour is.
Yeah, they've. I mean, ultimately, obviously, there's broadcasting rights and everything, and there's. I don't know how all that works. I'm not super like well versed in that space, but ultimately, if George and Wes end up on tour, I do think that ends up opening up some awesome possibilities of again matches on a Monday or a Tuesday, like being out there and being allowed to play. So you're not in like a pro-am group or anything, but being out there on a Tuesday when there's no pro-am and being able to film a match or running into a Joel Damon or someone and being like, hey, this isn't necessarily going to take away from your week too much. Like you don't have to fully take a day off, like even if it's 9 holes, like the Wesley verse stuff we've done. But being able to
That's what I
do
was
a
going.
1v1v1 instead of a 1v1 would be really cool. Like Sahith took time out of his week up in Canada, which was amazing. Shout out to him for doing that. Like Siwoo Kim took time at Sedgefield,
Those
obviously.
have been
Audrey
good.
took time at Colonial. Like everyone that's come on that series and taken the time, like we're super grateful. It's been awesome, and we'd love to continue doing those. And it would be awesome to be able to have George there because that's one of the hard things too. Is we want to have both brothers in every video that we can.
I would say if they're split up, it makes it difficult. But George has the game. I mean, I'm rooting
He
for him.
does.
Hopefully he gets there. He's got five cards, so I'm rooting for
Mhm.
him. Are y'all filming second stage?
Yep. We'll be
That'll
down
be
in
pretty soon, huh?
Valdosta. Yep. First week of December, I believe. December 3rd through the 6th, I believe, are the days he plays. Down in Valdosta, Georgia, at the site down
That
there. And
was
then,
where you went last year.
mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where we were at last year. And the course ultimately suits his game really well. I think we just had one rough day last year where the hard thing is George loves warm weather, and so when it gets really cold, I know everyone struggles with it, but the golf swing gets a little goofy. So I think it's kind of like if we can mentally stay in it this year, I think he has a really great shot to go to final stage.
I'm rooting for him. And Wes probably he'll be at final stage unless something happens in the next couple weeks. I think he'd be at final stage
I
as well,
think
right?
if he plays well the next 3 weeks, I think he has a very good shot of finishing inside the top 125 to keep his card.
I'm rooting for
So
him as
I'm
well. So,
hoping we don't have to meet him there.
yeah, I hear you. Well, appreciate you taking some time. We'll do a
Yeah,
couple
man.
quick ones and
Yeah, what else you
get you
got?
out of here. It's
No worries.
nice chatting with
Got
you.
videos
So
to go edit.
you do
Yeah,
always editing.
always
So
on the grind.
well, who would you say is a nicer guy, George or Grant? They both appear just to be great dudes. So
Gosh,
if I had to put you on the
that's a
spot,
hard that is a hard one. I'm gonna be partial. Go with my boss, um, and
yeah.
more so. I mean, it's hard because I don't know Grant as well as I know George, and we do get to spend a lot of time with Grant, which is awesome. I mean, I looked up to him way before we ultimately became friends, so it's been really cool to see that relationship develop. And just I think George being a family guy and also knowing his family really well and spending more time with him, uh, I I ultimately would just it's so hard because Grant's the most pure soul ever. Like he just has the smile and face of an angel, honestly. And
Hmm.
so every time we get to hang out with him, it's a blast. He treats me like one of his own videographers. He treats me like Sky. He treats me really well. Uh, but I mean, ultimately, George treats me like family. Like even when I was not doing any of the Bryan Bros TV stuff, and I was just filming for them at the time, like he and Mills opened up their house to me, and I got to spend a lot of time with Annie. And I was there a lot of the summer, and they treated me like family. And every time we're on the road, still it's the same thing. Like George treats me like family. He treats me like I'm basically his son, for better or worse.
It's awesome.
Sometimes like I'll do something stupid, and he'll just be kind of like he's like oh like that's my he treats me like his kid. He's like that's my kid. Like whether I do something good or bad, like when I do something great, he's really happy for me. He
Uh,
looks out for me, tries to make sure I take care of myself when like I'm having to pull all nighters or something. We try to make sure I don't have to do that, but obviously there's circumstances where that does happen. But he treats me like a kid. He treats me like family, and so it's like I'm a little biased
that,
towards that.
that's all you can ask. Lots of win for George. I like it. So, do you watch any golf or any YouTube golf yourself?
I do, yeah.
Or you said you grew,
I do.
you watched them a lot before you met them, but you still
Mhm.
watching some now?
I do watch some. Obviously, YouTube golf now consumes my life. So when I can get away from it,
Get
I
away
try
from it a
to.
little bit.
I obviously at the same time you kind of have to stay current with the space.
Hmm.
I think a sneaky underrated channel, especially some of the stuff they've been doing lately, is Ben Haddon's stuff. His guy Jalen over there. I haven't talked to him much, or I don't think at all, but he's talented. They've been doing some cool stuff with the tour series, and so I've been keeping some tabs on that a little bit. And then I watch a lot of Grant's stuff. Fun video coming out on their channel from Selena. I think it's this coming week. So there'll be a fun video on there. That's one of the more just goofy, funny ones we filmed, which will be fun for people to see.
How many? So obviously the one came out like yesterday, or by the time this is aired next week, it'll be last week. But how many did y'all film at Selena? Like
I
as
think
the
Rick.
crew together.
Yep, I think Rick got 3 videos. I want to
Oh wow.
say I'm not positive. I know Peter got 2 or 3. I know Grant got 2 or 3. He put out his match with Rick already though. So I think this will be the one other video Grant got, and then we just got the one
I
big
love how
hero
the
piece.
dynamic is just everyone comes, kind of gets their videos, and
Mhm.
it's all separate. I love that
Yeah,
model. So
everyone does a great job. It's really cool to see when a lot of people show up and they're like, even though we have those long days, like there are days where we are there sun up to sundown,
right.
and we're squeezing out every ounce of daylight that we can, and everyone still brings the energy for every video, even if it's not for their channel, which is really awesome to see. Like that group of guys we got together was really special because obviously it's hard if you've been in 3 videos that day and you're going on to a fourth video, like to still bring energy for that channel even when it's not
Hmm.
your own is it just kind of
It's
speaks
not
volumes
easy.
to the people that we had out there.
That's not easy. Well, a
No, it's
couple
not.
more, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's
What you got?
is there a best shot that you've recorded that comes to mind? Like one that just
George's hole in
holy,
one in Bermuda. That's on the Bryan
yeah.
Bros TV channel. That's
He,
probably. I mean,
he
that's the cop out answer. That's the easy one. Let's see if we
was
can
he
think of it.
called his shot. He just walked through it.
Walk through the routine. Yeah, catching that on camera was really special. That was really cool.
Was that
Favorite.
you zooming in behind, or were you behind the green,
I was from behind. I
like right
was.
behind him? Yeah.
Yep, I was behind him on the tee box. Um,
That's
we just kind of ended up filming that video for fun. Like we almost didn't film that video, and we were trying to get something for Bryan Bros TV. We were at the little par 3 course, Turtle Hill in Bermuda, and we were just like, hey, like we just got done. I think we filmed the YouTube Championship that day. Like we just got done filming like a 7-hour video, and we're like, all right, hey, um, like can we like we were gonna go to the par 3 course after, just hang out. Everyone's pretty beat. We're like, hey, we're just gonna film something fun and easy, just one camera. If anything comes of it, great. But we were gonna go out there and play anyway. So like, hey, let's film it.
yeah.
And we ended up capturing that moment, which was really special. There's been some tournament moments for George for sure, like his chip in on
At Bermuda.
hole 7. Yeah, hole
Mm-hmm.
7, that chip in from absolute Deadsville jail. Even though he says it wasn't, George, I love you to death. I know you had a good lie, but that's dead. Like, it's dead over there. And the fact that he chipped that in, that was an unbelievable moment. He
That
had a
was the eagle.
putt.
Eagle, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Yeah, for Eagle, which was crazy. And then George, I think it was first stage last year. I think he knew he was in, but or no, it was the playoff. We've been at Bermuda Run up in North Carolina so many times, it's hard to keep straight which times were when. But I think it was the video where it was
the
the
key
Monday
was
qualifier where
the
he made
when
that
I was to say
massive
they
putt on 18, like massive slider putt, and he was amped about it to get into the playoff. That was really cool. There's been a few special
awesome.
moments there for sure.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Is there any like bloopers that come to mind? Funny deleted scenes or anything that you
I'm trying.
recall?
Let's see. Um, I mean, there's just funny card cam moments of like just George and Wes. Like George will kind of just his bit will be a little bit like he likes to be goofy sometimes, and so it'll just be either in the cart cam. I'm like, George, you're a goober. What are you doing? When he's like looking in the camera. He's like, I think I'm having a pretty good hair day today. And I'll like kind of like his hair, and it'll just like funny moments like that are great when. I mean, it just kind of lets the personality shine through a little bit. And there's definitely times where I'll keep those in, and there's
That's
other times where I'm like, you're a goober, and I'll just be like
that's
cutting
why
through. And
that's why people love YouTube, just the
mm,
banter and the funny little moments. I mean, when you're watching PGA Tour golf to me, you're just kind of hearing the announcers talk, and it's not as good,
yeah,
not as much banter.
you
So
don't really understand who the person or the personalities behind
nah,
the mic are
uh-uh,
versus getting to
uh-uh.
hear people's thoughts on their shot, what they're going to hit, what club they're playing, the amount of access that you have
And then
for
and
on
just
YouTube
the
for YouTube
between
golfers
George
in
and
Carolina.
Wes just being brothers, the brotherly banter, it's
It's
great.
my
I
favorite.
mean,
Like even when
you
we
can't
travel,
needle
the
anyone
cameras are
like your
off. Like
brother.
it never stops. Like the banner you see on camera is the same off camera, and they like yeah
That's
they
awesome.
they're an awesome group to work for. They also make my job easy. They're unbelievable at the game, so don't have to do as
They
many
are.
shot tracers, which is
You
nice.
just
Shout out,
when you're
shout out
zooming
to
in, you just kind of keep
them.
your eyes straight for the most part. So
Yeah, which they
that's
make my
awesome,
job
man.
easy.
Is there a favorite video that you've edited in for them?
Uh, the one we just put out was really good. The $100,000 skins game. That's obviously one of the biggest videos we've ever put out. George and I take a lot of pride in the Q School one we just put out as well. Um, but let's see. I mean, a lot of the cut series stuff we do is really special. But I'm trying to think if there's one that's like. I think the Q School one that George and I just put out is one that I hold near and dear to my heart because he and I worked really hard on that together. It was a big collaborative effort on both parts because it's very hard to get done playing golf all day to get back and actively think through each hole and film that and talk that out. And then those weeks are pretty special too. And it's just kind of him and I on the road. Like I
Especially
said,
when he makes it too. I mean, made it on the
Mhm.
numbers, so he's got
Yeah,
to be in a
and
great mood.
to have Mills there the last couple of days was fun. The last 2 days when Mills was there, and she'll come on the road with us occasionally. She's obviously a big supporter of his, and just
Yeah.
I know having myself there, like I'm one of his biggest fans. Like I ultimately consider him one of my best friends. We talk every day, and not even just about YouTube stuff, just life in general. Like we talk all the time, and
That's awesome, man.
he's awesome. And so videos like that where it's ultimately his idea and he has some ideas for things, and then two, seeing how excited he gets when I'm able to bring that vision to life, and when we end up sharing the same vision and I ultimately get to execute on it. I think those are the videos that, even if they might not do the best, he and I truly care about, and like those
As
are
long as you can be
our
proud to,
babies. Yeah.
yeah, if you're proud to put it out there and it doesn't,
Mhm.
it flops a little, it doesn't
Yeah,
do as well as you thought, then it's no big deal.
it
I
is what it
mean,
is. Yeah. Like ultimately, I mean, George and Wes, they say it all the time. That's kind of our mantra: is good content wins. And so ultimately, we're always trying to put out the best product that we possibly can. Because like in the end, like even though it may not seem like it reigns true, like there's times where we think we have a great video and it'll flop or doesn't do like we thought it would. Like continuing to persevere and like not shying away from that idea because we think it's good content, like with the Q School stuff and everything, or like tour blogs. I think trying to bring those back, especially we'll see how our Bermuda video does, but like those videos, like ultimately good content wins, and we're going to put out what we want to put out. And I think that's what makes George and Wes like really special too, is like they're not going to just fold to any trends or fads. Like they are going to do what they want to do, and their minds are really special when it comes to the content stuff. So
yeah,
ultimately being able to execute on their vision though, and we have a time where it's not my vision, but George or Wes has a vision, and I'm able to share that with them, and I ultimately end up capturing what they wanted, and to see how happy they are with the result. Like those are the things that are really fulfilling. And so those are some of the
that
videos that are my favorites.
that's that's awesome, man. I'm
Mm-hmm.
been a fan for a while and
I
will
appreciate
continue to
it.
do so. And I just feel like you can definitely tell a change in the editing. It's been up and up, and it's just getting better and better since you've
Yep,
came
I'm
on, really. So
always trying to
it's
learn for
awesome.
sure. I mean, another massive shout out to Sky for that. He's one of my best friends on this planet. Again, he and I also talk every day, and he and I
Now,
both push each other pretty hard.
one thing about, did he have editing experience, or where did
Yes,
he kind of learn all that from?
he's been working for. I mean, he's been doing video for over 8 years. He didn't go to college. He ended up doing that out of high school. He started doing video stuff, I want to say early high school. And then I think was doing stuff for a church, and then for a skate company. I think he was running production at a skate company and was looking for a change of scenery, and Grant had left Good, and or that whole, I'm not sure how all that went down, but ultimately Grant ended up on his own, didn't obviously have a production guy,
Mm.
and he put together one of the best emails I've ever seen.
Grant did,
And
or Sky did?
Sky did.
Sky did.
Cold emailed
To send
Grant,
to Grant.
kind of like my story, and worked really, really hard. Like obviously had the skills, but YouTube golf's a totally different skill set. Like the storytelling, the decision making, and everything. What makes a YouTube golf video great isn't necessarily what makes a normal production video great for like a skate company or for an ad agency or whatever other kind of content you're doing, even other YouTube content. Like what makes YouTube golf
Hmm.
special is its own skill set.
Yeah,
And like he did a great job. He's super creative, and then he and Grant started working together, and he kind of figured out the formula. And
pretty much.
yeah, I mean, they haven't
They're killing
turned
it.
back since. Like they work super hard over there, but I'm a lot more engineering based. Like again, like figuring out how to do tracers in a different way, and like sharing
I
that with
love
him. Like he
those.
and I bounce a lot of stuff back and forth together, and he's super creative, so he helps me with some of the creative stuff on our videos, and I help him with some of the technical stuff on their videos, like ultimately figuring out how to time code everything, make sync maps so we don't have to manually sync all our footage and everything.
That
Like that's
all's
my
kind of
area
over
of
my head,
expertise.
but
Yeah, like I'm the
I'm
gear junkie. Like I'm the big gear
okay.
guy,
Yeah.
and he's the super creative. Like he's, I don't remember what the terms are for a film set, but like he'd be the creative director and I'd be the guy like running all the gear on set. Like that's how the cut series
Uh-huh.
stuff goes. That's I think why
Yeah.
that works so well is he ultimately ends up creative directing the series, and I'm the one that makes sure it all goes smoothly and it's shot how it's supposed to be shot. And I think that's kind of why he and I make such a good team. Not only are we best friends and we know what each other's thinking all the time, so we don't even have to talk while we're filming. Like, we just kind of communicate like by looking at each other. We kind of
Telepath.
bounce off each other and telepathically
Awesome.
communicate a little bit. But yeah,
That's cool,
he's
man. Well,
a big reason of
have you,
where I'm at. So massive props to him. Like, I remember
yeah,
us one time like on a bus to DIA super early in the morning, and still hadn't even really touched an editing software, and he was just like, "Hey man," like, filmed a video for me to watch on that bus ride. He's like, "Hey, this is an L cut, this is a J cut, like this is like the most basics of editing of all time." But the fact he took time out of his day to do that, send it to me, and like everything he's done to help me succeed, like I owe a lot to him too. So he's been a big influence in where I'm at today, which has
cool,
been cool.
man. That's awesome. Yeah, he does great work as well. So
He does.
one last question: have you
Yeah,
ever
you can keep
played?
turning away whatever you got.
Don't want to. I want to be kind of your time. It's been 45
You're
minutes.
good.
So,
Um,
have you ever played golf on YouTube yourself?
I'm sure if you're asking that question, you know the answer to it already.
I no, I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
find. I
I
didn't
have.
find anything.
I have.
Have you?
I
Okay.
have.
What?
I did a video with Wedgie's golf coach Jake, who he's caddied for George and all the Q school stuff and everything. They have their own channel over there,
I've
and
seen a little bit of their stuff. Yeah.
yep, I ended up in a really awful situation flight wise. Kind of got stranded somewhere. Changed my flight last minute to Charlotte, which is where he's located. Came, picked me up, hung out, and I was like, "Hey man, like all they were thinking about coming out to Selena to go film something." He's like, "Hey, will you film?" They wanted to kind of do a Bob the Sports Food Challenge, and we did a Krispy Kreme donut challenge. And
Okay.
I don't know how much of the vlog he included in there, but basically, like, I can eat food. Like, I can eat a lot of
Uh,
food. And we somehow ended up with some like cinnamon rolls and blueberry like cruller donuts or something. Those two total gut bombs. Those were the death of
those
me.
those don't seem like
But
they mix.
no, not great. Like the normal glazed donuts, everything else I'm totally fine with.
Uh,
But we did
yeah.
a 9-hole donut challenge, and that's because he's my friend and I told him I'd do it. Ended up doing it,
Uh,
and that one was a tough one.
I'll have to check that out and check. I'll have to check out the Christmas
Yep, I've
classic there.
played one time on YouTube, and I I'm much better served behind the camera.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
well, if you want a second time when y'all in Myrtle Beach, the offer's there. You can come
yeah,
out. I'll get you on
happy
for
to.
free, and then you can come on my channel. I'll do all the filming and everything.
Yeah,
Quality's not high, but the offer would be there if you wanted to get a match in.
I'm always happy to play. I ultimately this space has gotten me where I'm at, and that's one of my big things too. Is like I don't have a lot of people actually reach out to me. I'm sure people are scared to reach out or they don't know how to reach me or whatever. But like when it comes to YouTube questions or stuff, like I'm not one to gatekeep or I'm not one to not help out. So
I'm sure
it's
the
like
people
I'm always
appreciate that.
happy
Where
to
can they reach you? Instagram? Is that pretty much where you're at?
Instagram, shoot me a DM. I check occasionally check my like requests, like which is how I found your message. I was like, yeah, I'm happy to help out. Like people that want
Yeah.
to reach out to me and have questions. Like occasionally people will be like, hey, what camera do you shoot on? Or hey, what do you edit in? And I'm always happy to get back to those people. Like I think there was one comment when I was scrolling through all the comments on the $100,000 skins game match last
Hmm.
night. I was sitting in bed reading through some of the comments, and someone
Hmm.
said they couldn't find the music I used when FP came in under the intro, and he actually said the right artist from Epidemic Sound. But he was like, "Hey, I don't think it's this. It's not definitely not this person," which ironically was the artist who it was. But said it's not this person. Like, hey, I can't find this. It's really bugging me. And like I was already tucked into bed, and I got up, went opened my laptop, found the song, and found the comment, and left a comment. I was like, hey, it's this song. Like I know how frustrating some of that stuff can be. Like if you, like I'll ask a lot of times, like, oh, I wonder what this song was, and I never hear back. So there's just kind of those things where I've been in a lot of people's shoes where I knew nothing, and ultimately, if people didn't share their knowledge with me, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, there's probably a lot of really talented people out there that just don't have the right start or don't know where to start. And I was in the same boat. So it's like, ultimately, if I can help someone out, I will.
It's great to
And,
see. Yeah, you've started from the bottom and doing
I've
great. So,
found my way here. So again,
and
I'm always happy
you've
to.
met for a lot of famous people, and you're. It sounds like you got a great gig. I mean, you're staying busy, but
I
it sounds fun. I mean, man. So, well, I appreciate you coming on and chatting, man. I won't hold you any further. Appreciate you. That's it, man.
No worries. Happy to do it. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me on. Obviously, happy to share my story and chat. And then yeah, we're down in the Myrtle Beach area, and I happen to find myself with a free day. We'll go out and play some golf.
I'll
Even
reach
if we
out
don't end up.
before you get here and just throw it out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate you throwing it out there. But yeah, if anyone has questions, obviously you can just shoot me a DM on Instagram at Carney,
I'll link your.
Carnhy.
Okay,
It's
cool.
also really
I'll
funny
link that
when
and.
people try to spell my name in the YouTube comments section. Sometimes you run into some fun variations of Carney. So
I think you get the auto correct when you when
you
you
might.
type in
Honestly,
Carney. I think that's
no,
what happens.
you run into the meat a lot. Carne asada, which is actually my dad's nickname in college. Funny enough. So
Carne asada.
yeah.
All right, man.
All
Well,
good, man.
appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do
Take it
it.
easy.
Likewise, my friend. I appreciate you.
All right, man.
All right. I'll catch you later.
Yep. Later.
See ya.
Well, that was a nice little chat. Wanted to thank Carney again for coming on. Found that enjoyable, insightful. What the craziest part to me was that Wes and George just hand Carney the keys to their channel, saying, "Have at it." They don't even double check it. He edits it, produces it, posts it all. So pretty interesting. Enjoyed the chat. Hope y'all did. Subscribe to the channel if you hadn't. Don't want to jinx anything, but I think we have a couple pretty good guests lined up to interview next. Going to be posting lots of interviews and keep posting my rounds of golf as well. So subscribe, and that's it. Appreciate all y'all watching. We'll see you in another one. Peace.